Crescent City Steakhouse, a true neighborhood restaurant operated by the Vojkovic family since 1934. It is the oldest steakhouse in the city of New Orleans. Serving only hand-cut, prime-aged, corn-fed beef for over 80 years, Crescent City Steakhouse has become a dining destination for both die-hard locals and adventurous travelers who seek traditional, timeless New Orleans cuisine. Crescent City Steakhouse, 1001 North Broad, on the corner of St. Philip, in the heart of New Orleans.
Hey, don't forget my pimento cheese. Of course.
It's okay, I'll take it from here.
Hey, the guy get a seat.
For the love of palmetto cheese.
So here's the bottom line. Well, it's funny that you say that. Let me tell you. Good evening, and welcome to Primetime Sports. Hey, I'm your host, Scott Alexander, and last week we talked all about the LSU Tigers and New Orleans Saints, and why not? They're having a magical season. This year, we're going to switch it up again. We're going to go a little basketball. We're going to have one of the greatest in the game. His name is Tim Duncan. Not that Tim Duncan, the one in New Orleans who might even be better for the Crescent City. He's going to bring great things down here for the UNO Privateers. Also, my old standby, John Brady, is going to be here to talk about LSU basketball, but more importantly, the landscape across the country. And we're going to talk about a lot more, too, as well. But also, I have some news for you. The NOLA Gold Major League Rugby team, that's right, Major League Rugby is now going to be played on the East Bank in the Shrine on Airline. It's official. There's going to be a press conference on Wednesday. It's going to be very exciting. And we're also going to call it the Gold Mine on Airline. So check them out. Try to get your tickets. Go to nolagoldrugby.com because it's going to be a big deal. These are world-class players, Olympians, World Cup players, etc. So enjoy. Hey, next, we got Tim Duncan and John Brady. Stay tuned on Primetime Sports. We'll be back soon.
Hey, New Orleans, get ready for some rugby. There's a new pro sports team in town, and it's NOLA Gold. Now, I can tell you, once rugby gets in your blood, you never lose that bond. I'm John Goodman. Get your tickets now at nolagoldrugby.com, and I'll see you in the scrum.
Make no mistake about it, life's more fun with seafood.
Oysters don't swim.
They do in butter.
What'd you get?
A little bit of everything to make everyone happy.
Acme Oyster House. Life really is more fun with seafood.
Rock and roll will never die. It's old New Orleans, my oh my. Come on, baby, let's go rock and roll at the city lane. All night, let's roll, let's rock and roll. Baby, do the rock and roll. At the mid-city lanes, the home of rock and roll.
Handling a gator like this can be scary, and this is pretty risky too. But do you know what's really dangerous? Dealing with the insurance company after your car wreck. If you've been injured, get a fighter. That's why you need to call me. I'm not afraid to handle them, and I'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve. So if you've been hurt, hire a professional. Just call me. Get it done.
Get Gordon. Get it done.
Call 1-800-653-9968.
Did you know that GMFS Mortgage is the largest independent mortgage company in Louisiana? Their 250 employees have helped over 79,000 customers make the dream of home ownership come true. They funded over $12.9 billion in loans right here in Southeast Louisiana. If you're ready to buy, build, or renovate a new home, or just need to refinance, call the company born and raised here, GMFS Mortgage.
Hey, don't forget my pimento cheese.
It's okay. I'll take it from here.
Hey, can I get a seat?
For the love of palmetto cheese.
Crescent City Steakhouse, a true neighborhood restaurant operated by the Vojkovic family since 1934, is the oldest steakhouse in the city of New Orleans. Serving only hand-cut, prime-aged, corn-fed beef for over 80 years, Crescent City Steakhouse has become a dining destination for both die-hard locals and adventurous travelers who seek traditional, timeless New Orleans cuisine. Crescent City Steakhouse, 1001 North Broad, on the corner of St. Philip, in the heart of New Orleans.
Primetime Sports with Scott Alexander is underwritten by Task Performance.
Hey, welcome back to Primetime Sports, and like I said in the open, we're going to scrap football this week. Talked a lot of Saints last week, of course, LSU and their great run, but we're talking basketball, and we're talking all the sports on the lakefront. That's right, because I have new University of New Orleans athletic director, Tim Duncan. How you doing, my friend?
I'm great, Scott. How are you, man?
Doing good,
Awesome.
doing good. I remember
Awesome.
meeting you at Yale College Inn, and I
Yeah.
can say that because they are a sponsor of the show.
Awesome. That's good.
And I enjoyed meeting you. You obviously have an exuberance, but before you got into all this, you obviously were a player back in your day. Anybody you idolized growing up in Memphis?
Yeah, everyone liked Magic Johnson.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
back in the
Oh,
day.
yeah.
So he was a 6'9", and I'm 6'8", and he was a guard, and I was nothing near a guard, but he was still a guy that was my favorite player at the time.
People that don't know basketball, maybe some casual fans, don't realize you're from Memphis, right? So
I am.
the great lineage of Memphis players, I mean, it goes on and on. Heck, I was with the Atlanta Hawks working for them, and we had a bunch of them. But obviously, everybody knows Penny Hardaway. You
Right.
had a little overlap with him.
We did.
And another one named Elliot Perry.
Yeah.
Talk to me about those two guys you played with.
Well, they actually went to high school together, so that was what's so great about them. Elliot was one of the hardest workers I've ever met and ever played with. We played AAU together for 2 seasons, and then played at what was then Memphis State for
Memphis
3
State.
seasons.
That's it. That's
We
what I
played
know.
3 seasons together. He's the, I think, second all-time leading scorer in school history. He averaged 20 points a game at 6 feet 140. The quickest person I've ever met, and the hardest worker for sure.
He was 6 feet. The Sox went 5'11".
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
he
He's known
could
for his
score
socks.
20 in his sleep, though.
That's right.
Growing up, that was your team you watched? I mean,
Yeah,
that's who you
absolutely.
liked?
I grew up watching. I was a fan of Memphis. That's the only place I ever wanted
Right.
to play. My dad took me on campus when I was a kid. We used to go to the practices because the coach there went to high school with my dad. Larry Finch went to Melrose. My dad went to Melrose. I went to Melrose. My brother did. So it was a lineage of Melrose guys going to the University of Memphis. And so I grew up on that campus,
Right
and
on.
that's where I
You
wanted to
knew
play.
it.
I wanted to be a Tiger.
I grew up right near Tulane University. We're in Loyola and all that. And I grew up watching Memphis and Louisville come in and to the Metro Conference.
Right.
People from New Orleans remember the Metro.
Yeah.
And you were part of that, right?
I was.
And then it turned like to the Great Midwest.
Great
or something?
Midwest.
Is that what it was called?
Yeah, so I was in the Metro Conference for 3 years, and my senior year went to the Great Midwest, which really was a precursor for Conference USA.
Right on, yeah. Also, when you finished playing basketball, did you have aspirations of being in sports still, or did you just immediately know you wanted to do something else?
No, I wasn't as prepared as like our student athletes are today. I had no clue. The day I graduated, I was like, oh crap, what am I gonna do?
Exactly.
So I ended up playing a little semi-pro basketball and realized my talent is only worth about $350 a week. And I figured that I wasn't gonna make a career there.
I was an agent, I've had some of those players.
So I worked a few jobs and ended up going to graduate school at Grambling, majored in sports administration, and I got an internship at Russell Athletic. And from there, I ended up working in the corporate world for about 10 years.
Now, is Eddie Robinson still around at Grambling when you were there? I know you were a grad
He was.
student,
I
but-
saw his 400th win live on campus. So that was a very special moment. It's pretty cool to be a part of that.
First of all, 400, that hasn't happened in,
Right,
in, the,
in a long
in the-
time.
well, the college level at
Yeah,
all. I mean,
yeah.
in the pro level, of course. But hey, going forward, when you left after all that, what made you get back into sports? Because you had, most people kind of, when they get out and they want to stay in coaching or they want to
Right.
be, they stay in it. What did you do after that?
Well, I never wanted to coach.
Right.
So I worked as I had a lot of jobs. You'll probably appreciate this. One of my jobs out of college, I had a degree. I moved to Houston. I sold beepers. Do you remember beepers?
Of course we do.
So I was a beeper salesman.
LeBron James brought him back in 2002.
So I did a little bit of everything and decided that I didn't just want jobs, I wanted a career.
Sure.
So my undergraduate degree was in marketing, and I knew I loved sports. So my brother played basketball at Grambling, and they had a sports administration program. I found out about it, enrolled, and from there it's history.
So when you got in, I mean, I did some research, and I looked. It was kind of an accident to get back into sports. I love the story, and I think most people here don't know it. I'd love you to tell a bridge version of it.
Yeah, so I owned an event marketing company and went to University of Memphis and talked to them about helping support our company with donors. And they ended up offering me a job in fundraising. So I was fortunate enough to enter back into college athletics, working at my alma mater, and
that's pretty cool.
It was a lot of fun.
That's
cool. It was very cool.
And then you transferred into the, obviously we're at Northeastern, Clay State, and places like that.
Right.
How did this job? When you think of New Orleans, you think of UNO. Let's start about New Orleans.
Right.
When you first thought about, hey, I might be going to New Orleans.
Right.
There's a lot of wide range of things that people think of. What was your first thought?
I won it. I'm from Memphis.
Right.
I played here in college. We played at UNO, so we played against Urban Johnson and those teams. And that day, I think
Urban Johnson.
Yeah, Urban Johnson.
Right.
Kelvin sent me the numbers. I think it was 3,705 people in the stands, so it was a really good crowd.
Yes.
It was raucous. We barely got out of there with a win. So I knew that they had a strong basketball culture and lineage here. New Orleans is a river city, similar to Memphis.
Right on. Same river.
Yeah, same river.
Right.
The name of the school and the city is synonymous, just like Memphis, New Orleans. So there are a lot of similarities that made this feel like home right off. So when it came open, I knew I wanted it.
I remember being in college, and LSU was really good in the mid-'80s. They went to a couple Final Fours, but UNO, they had a squad.
Absolutely.
I remember I'm not going to say that thing was completely full, but it just seemed like it to me. And that's what your vision, I imagine, is right now. Because, listen, I grew up going to the Chamber of Horrors, whatever they used to call that old place.
Yeah.
Wayne Cooper.
Right.
I mean, the late 70s teams were good. And then they had this lineage, and then they dropped down to a couple divisions, and now they're back, and you have a great head coach in Marcus Lessinger.
Right.
What's your vision?
My vision is to get back to where we were. We need to reach back to our past and embrace that, and that's what we've done. We need to make more connections with the city, so we go by New Orleans more so than UNO now to make that connection.
It's a big
with
connection.
the city.
Yeah.
We have great coaches, and Coach Sless and Keyshawn Davenport and Blake Dean, and all of our coaches are great. But so our signature sports of basketball and baseball have to be good, and we're fortunate that we have talented coaches there. And now my job is to get people in the arena to support our student athletes.
Being around most people, think of an athletic director, right? I mean, we all know it's a little bit easier at a place like LSU or Alabama because, hey, it comes, right? The money comes, the winning comes. I want people to know what it's like to be at a smaller school. UNO is not a small school, but it's a smaller school. It's still Division I in basketball and baseball. But my point is, it's a different kind of job because you also have to do what normal athletic directors do, but you also have to raise money as well. How do you balance that?
Yeah, it's a part of the job. Every athletic director has some fundraising responsibilities. They just have a lot more people doing it and helping setting them up. So it's a little bit more hands-on, but I like that. I like to be involved in the day-to-day. I love interacting with donors because it gives me a chance to talk to them about our student athletes and our coaches. And that's our biggest asset. So if I get a chance to do that, it's been a great day.
Your passion's unbelievable. I mean, I noticed it when I first met you, and I heard about that when you got the job there. Scott, you're going to love him. And I can see you're charismatic, you're easy to talk to, and people, I'm assuming, gravitate to you. In New Orleans, I mean, when I moved back, I was gone for 29 years. I put on a lot of weight. It's hard.
It is.
I'm just saying, you're younger than me, so just watch out. I mean, the food's really good down here.
It's way too good, man. I picked up a couple. I started to double my workouts, because I know I'm not going to slow down with eating. So I just need to work harder so I can stay balanced. I want to have a balance, and that'll be good for me. I'm not going to lose, but I'm not going to gain.
I just thought a question I want to ask you, because as an athletic director that also played the game at a very, very good school. I mean, by the way, if you didn't remember Memphis in the 80s and early 90s, they were ballers. Do you like to go to practice? I mean, do you hang out? Do you go to practice? I'm curious, how does that work?
I do. I don't go all the time because I want to give coaches their freedom, but I love to go because I like to see what coaches implementing, and I like to see what he's implementing. So when I talk to the students, I can say, hey, man, I saw you in practice, man. You were on fire.
Wow,
How's your confidence?
You can legitimately
you feeling
say
good? Yeah, so we can have great dialogue. So it's more about just the knowledge of what coach is doing. He prepares them great, but it gives me tidbits of conversation to have with the student athletes.
I found it interesting. I mean, you know, every coach or athletic director likes to put their stamp, and immediately I saw some certain things when I went to the opening game. You got that VIP thing. Instead of being underneath, you put it out front.
Right.
And you see, you know, letting people see it's kind of a special thing.
Yeah.
Tell me where that idea came from and others you're thinking about.
We wanted a premium section. We have our courtside, which is a great place. We wanted to have something for our fans that we don't have suites there, that we can emulate suites. So in the premium section, we call Press Row Premium, we have a concierge service where they bring you drinks,
It's
food.
genius, by the way.
Yeah, well, thank you. And then I think the most impactful thing that we've done is we removed the bleachers from behind the goal, and we have what we call the pit. And that's a place where our students can be raucous. We have a DJ in there. They have their own bar. Of course, in New Orleans, students 21 plus can have a bar.
Right.
So they have a bar there that they do take ID from the students. But it turns that place into more of a live and rowdy atmosphere. And the students had a great time.
And I don't know if you're coaching them, but they did a great job. I've been to 2 games. In fact, John Brady, who's going to be my next guest, we go to about 8 to 10 games a year together.
That's
Redhead
awesome.
Tsunami, sometimes John. We love to support.
Yeah, well, good. Thank you.
And then Schlesinger is such a great guy, and I love the way he coaches. I love the way he treats his players. I love the way the ball movement and everything else. Let me switch real quick before I have to into baseball, because baseball's been another sport with a lot of history at UNO. I mean, a lot. They were the first team in the state to go to the College World Series.
Absolutely.
With a former teammate of mine in high school who's a shortstop. Kenny Bernera, that's your shout out. But anyway, but the bottom line is, what's baseball doing now for the future? Because, man, they've had so many great stints throughout the last 45 years.
Well, baseball, we want to return baseball to the glory that it's been anyway. So, as you know, I had 100 meetings in 100 days, and meeting number 1 was with Coach Maestri. He was able to articulate where we've been.
Don.
No, you're right.
He is the Don.
So I got a chance to talk to him, and the first thing we're going to do is improve our facilities.
Right.
We're going to have we're working on a fundraising plan to develop a new clubhouse for baseball and put it on first base line, connected to the dugout, have a weight room, equipment room, hitting facility, everything in there. So we're developing those plans now. Had a meeting with Facilities Day, have had great meetings with Blake Dean. So all of our fans and alums and some of those great players who played with Coach Maestri, we're coming to see you.
Blake's awesome. Maestri's awesome. You got a great thing. And I'm fired up for you. I'm fired up for the university. And by the way, I had a meeting today with one of the heads of Anheuser-Busch, and he was a UNO grad. And he's like, I told him about seeing you. He's like, tell him I said hi.
That's
so
awesome.
Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
I'm going to push one of my things, because NOLA Gold Rugby is moving into the Shrine on Airline. It's going to be called the Gold Mine on Airline.
That's what I heard.
2
Thank
complimentary
you.
tickets. I'll give you 50-yard line. We call it meters.
Thank
But we'll give you that.
you. I appreciate it.
And then I'm going to give you a couple Taz shirts. Kelvin might fight you for one of them, but Taz Performance.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate
it,
That is going to be the softest shirt you'll ever wear.
All right.
You'll be coming back again for another one.
Thanks a lot, Scott.
Great seeing you. That's Tim
buddy.
Duncan. Not that Tim Duncan, but he's going to make his own name here in the city of New Orleans.
The original.
The original Tim Duncan.
Thank
That's
you.
right. You're a couple years before. That's true.
right.
Say, coming back, we're going to have an old favorite, John Brady, coming right back to talk LSU basketball and the state of basketball across the country right here on Primetime Sports.
Hey, don't forget my pimento cheese. Of course.
It's okay. I'll take it from here.
Hey, can I get a seat?
For the love of palmetto cheese.
Did you know that GMFS Mortgage is the largest independent mortgage company in Louisiana? Their 250 employees have helped over 79,000 customers make the dream of home ownership come true. They funded over $12.9 billion in loans right here in Southeast Louisiana. If you're ready to buy, build, or renovate a new home, or just need to refinance, call the company born and raised here, GMFS Mortgage.
Rock and roll will never die. It's old New Orleans, my oh my. Come on, baby, let's go rock and roll at the city lane. All night, let's roll, let's rock and roll. Baby, do the rock and roll at Mid-City Lanes, the home of rock and roll.
make no mistake about it, life's more fun with seafood.
Oysters don't swim.
They do in butter.
What'd you get? A little bit of everything to make everyone happy.
Acme Oyster House. Life really is more fun with seafood.
Handling a gator like this can be scary, and this is pretty risky too. But do you know what's really dangerous? Dealing with the insurance company after your car wreck. If you've been injured, get a fighter. That's why you need to call me. I'm not afraid to handle them, and I'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve. So if you've been hurt, hire a professional. Just call me. Get it done.
Get Gordon. Get it done.
Call 1-800-653-9968.
Hey, welcome back to Primetime Sports. And like we said, this is going to be an all basketball show. Last week, it was all Zach Strief talking Saints. We talked about LSU, of course, in the beginning of the show, but we're doing hoops. I want to thank Tim Duncan for just coming on, the former Memphis player who's now the athletic director at the Privateers. But right now, we got one of our old favorites. You know who he is. John Brady was our basketball analyst right when he retired from coaching, and now he comes on when he has a few extra minutes, which is rare these days because he's busy. He is now on the analyst for LSU basketball where he coached, and obviously you know he went to the Final Four. Two-time SEC Coach of the Year. And I'm your agent. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
I wish you would have been my agent.
I tell you what, I can talk about people. I can talk in general.
You can sell it, too.
We can sell it. Hey, by the way, how are things going? I mean, just in general? You having a good week?
Things are good. The LSU's basketball team's improving.
Yeah.
And it's much better, as you know, to call a game when you're winning a game as opposed to when you're losing a game. So
much better.
Yeah, our team's getting better, and I'm excited about what may happen with it.
Okay, so when I had you last, you just lost to VCU, a tough road game, a tough opponent, always in the NCAA tournament, especially on the road, and it was like kind of a last-minute thing. One loss since then, Utah State. People don't know Utah State was a top 20 team, great spot. What do you think of those losses are going to mean in the long run when LSU might be struggling to get an NCAA bid if they don't play like they did last year?
Well, because of where the games were, we lost those games at the end because of turnovers.
Sure.
We've cut our turnovers down.
Right.
So I think close losses to quality teams, won't hurt you, particularly when they're on the road. So I think we're going to be fine with that. We've gotten better. We've cut our turnovers down. We're 4 or 5 turnovers away from being undefeated. So I think we're in good shape.
I love how you say we still. In the media, we're taught not to say us or we, but you are an LSU legend. We learned that at the NCAA, at the SEC tournament, right? You got the legendary status.
Yeah, Will Wade did that, and Kent Lowe, who, by the way, is going into the Hall of Fame, Louisiana
Congrats
Hall of
to
Fame,
Kent.
which is great
As
for
is
him.
Tim Brando, my guy. Might as well give him all my friends props.
That's right.
All right.
Well, I guess if you want to say legend, but
I love it.
I'll take it.
I love it. So you've been watching this team, and you know 16-2 is probably going to be a little bit of a pipe dream. I'm not saying they can't do it, but after seeing them for the start of the season for a full month, what do you think expectations should be at for the regular season?
Well, I think we're an NCAA tournament team, but I also think the SEC is not quite as good as it was a year ago. 13 of the top 16 scores are gone. 12 players drafted to the NBA, 6 in the first round, 4 new coaches, and as you know, when you hire 4 new coaches, something's wrong with that particular program. So it's in a transition year, but so is LSU's basketball team from the way it looked last year to this year. So I think we're good enough with 4 experienced players to be an NCAA tournament team, even though the league's not as good and it's in somewhat of a transition.
And you know what? Most fans, a casual fan right now, is not on LSU basketball, or really any basketball. The Pelicans aren't doing very well, and LSU and the Saints are having a magical season.
They're on LSU football.
They're on LSU football, that's for sure. And down here, you got a little Houdat as well.
Yeah.
However, if for the fan that does tune in, maybe in January, they're going to want to know how these new players are playing, the freshmen, the transfer. Kind of fill in how they've been doing since the last time I talked to you.
Well, I talked today. I spoke today, but Trendon Wofford, the freshman from Birmingham, highly touted freshman, he's really playing well. Probably had his best game the other night against University of New Orleans. He had 18 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. He played really well. He's averaging double figures. He's averaging 8 rebounds a game. He's been really good for us. And then Charles Manning, a junior college player, 6'4", from Florida. He's playing really well too, and the thing LSU doesn't have right now is the quality depth that we had a year ago.
Right.
So Will Wade is managing the team, getting those kinds of players to get quality minutes, and for our starters to play extended minutes. and still defend well without fouling. And I think that's going to be important for LSU this year.
What's the identity of this team? Obviously, last year they got up and went. I mean, are they scoring at will like they did last year? What is this team's true identity?
Well, we're averaging 81 points a game, and we've played 8 pretty good opponents, 7 pretty good opponents. So I think our ability to score is going to bode us well down the road. I thought our problem would be rebounding the ball, but we're rebounding after 8 games a +10 versus the opponent. So that is good, and we're defending well.
That's what I found. I was waiting for the defense.
Yeah, and we're holding opponents to 39% field goals. We're shooting 50%. And on those 2 stats alone, if you shoot 50, the opponent shoots 39, you've got a chance to win a bunch of games.
Hey, I might have been in remedial math, but I can figure out that's usually going to be a W.
Way to go, Jeff.
But by the way, as far as the returning players, has anybody stepped up? Obviously, the 2 leaders are gone. One was a freshman, but he was the big man in the front court. He's went to the NBA, as did obviously the point guard that was leading the league in scoring. So what's going on now?
I think Darius Days and Emmett Williams are our 2 most improved players. Obviously, you have Javonte Smart, who's playing another position, and Skylar Mays. We all know how good he is.
Right.
But Emmett Williams and Darius Days have both improved their games. The last couple of games, they've both been really good. Emmett Williams over the last 4 games is averaging a double-double. Darius Days is shooting over 50% from the floor and over 40% from the 3. So the improvement of those 2 guys speaks well for how Will Wade's developed those guys and how he's brought them along.
Since the beginning of the season, I'm going to go national now, nobody seems to want to be number 1. Obviously, it started with Kentucky beat Michigan State. Then Kentucky got the biggest upset of the year. Evansville came in and beat them. And then whoever's been number 1, Duke, they get run by Stephen F. Austin, who is in the same conference as UNO, who we just talked to, Tim Duncan. What do you think about this national landscape? Is it anybody's ball game, or are we going to see a paring down when it gets closer to January and February?
Well, I think early on it's anybody's games based on the scores of upsets that we've had already in college basketball. The thing that sticks out to me, Scott, nobody seems to score the ball consistently. Virginia, who we all know is pretty good, the last 3 games, they hadn't even hit 50.
Terrible.
And a lot of the teams are scoring in the high 60s. LSU's averaging 81, so I think that bodes well for us as we move into SEC play.
Any team that I know you're doing your games, so you're not seeing. I sit home. I'm a little bit of a junkie. I watch as many games as possible. But is there any team that you say that could grow and get better as the season progresses? So many great freshmen. They're not going to be great this time of year.
Well, I like Michigan's team. The Wolverines have been a surprise early on. Yeah. He's doing a nice job of coaching. He's one of those transition pro guys.
Juwan Howard, right?
Seems to be able to coach on the college level.
Right.
So I like their team. I'm interested to see how once they get in Big Ten play, how they do.
The man who loves defense and rebounding, if you're around this guy, that's
Bingo.
what, and they do it well. They do it well. They did get thumped by Louisville. But John Brady, I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate the job you do. I turn the volume on the TV down and I listen to you and Chris Blair. Keep up the great work.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
And hey, by the way, I have a gift for you.
Oh, I love it.
And a friend of yours. Hey, Task Performance.
Best.
Hey, this is the thing. That's why he keeps coming on.
That's right. I mean,
he's a rich guy. He don't need any of this, but he gets some. Look at the new colors.
I love it.
I'm going to give you another. You might give that to a friend if you have to.
Ooh.
Hey, there you go. And by the way, I'm giving you 2 complimentary tickets. This is a hot ticket now. The NOLA Gold. I'm going to throw this up. Give me a camera right here. The NOLA Gold are now officially playing in the Shrine on Airline. We're going to call it the Gold Mine on Airline. You're going to have 50-yard line tickets for the first game. It's going to be a big event, my friend.
Can't wait.
All right.
Thank you.
Can't wait. All right, that's John Brady. Lots of people to thank here. Of course, my man, Albert DuPont, who is my producer here at Loyola University, the Redhead Tsunami, Nikki, and everybody else want to thank you. We'll see you again next week. We'll get back on that football. Goodbye. Let me tell you.